everyone, and welcome back. It's been a while, but we've been super busy here. Actually, this is my first weekend where I don't have my flower stand up, and it's super sad. Last week on October 10th, we did dip down into the low 30s. I was able to save my dahlias. Thankfully, I did put some frost cloth over. I ordered on Amazon, got it delivered the next day, and thankfully that was able to keep them going and survive so I could have them now. But unfortunately, all of my zinnias are just toast. Same thing with my sunflowers. I don't have sunflowers anymore. And then a lot of the greens, like my basil that I have been using, those also didn't survive the frost, but for the most part, a lot of things are still doing good. A lot of the leaves might have gotten that frost, but the plants themselves are actually doing really good. My cool hardy annuals are looking fantastic. Some of the flowers that we planted together over in the beds, those are still doing well. And I'm pleased to say at least I do have some dahlias, however, just not enough to be making these big luscious bouquets. I'll just pick some for myself and then just bring them inside the house or into the classroom. And hi, if you're new here, my name is Kristy. I'm located in Western Massachusetts, Zone 6A, and I've been taking you along with my farm stand and my gardening ventures here in my backyard. We slowly are transitioning from vegetables to flowers. Since I decided to open up a roadside flower stand, it actually went really well, and since that has come to an end, basically we are starting cleanup. So I'm not digging up my dahlias right now. Those are still doing very well, and I want to be able to commit a weekend to digging them up, washing them off, and letting them dry out so I can store them. I'm going to try and use peat moss this year. I used pine shavings, and I would say about half of them made it. Some of them didn't. They just shriveled up too much. So that was kind of like just something to test out, and I left them in my unheated garage, so the ones that did survive did really well. But we're going to try peat moss this year, and I have a lot to dig up. All right, so I'm just going to take you along throughout my day just to do some time lapses. So you can see we have I already started pulling some of my zinnias with the help of my son one night. We've been, again, super busy. My daughter had her birthday party, so we're doing a lot of landscape maintenance, like weeding. We put a lot of mulch down. Very, very busy decorating for here last weekend. I do have some dahlias I do need to store in my pots. Those did not make it through the frost compared to the ones that were in the ground, and I also had frost cloth on. So those I have to dig up and wash and store as well. So that will get a little kickstart on those hopefully later this afternoon. So let's go over and take a look at the zinnias, and we're just going to be cutting those, and I will be discarding my zinnias in the woods. We have a couple of piles out there, and then over the next few weeks we will be collecting all of our leaves and just mulching everything over where my rows are until next year. So let's get to it. We're gonna be leaving the deck, and I'm gonna take you over to where my cut flower garden is. I'm already going to be expanding actually behind me. I'm going to show you. So all of this next year, I am going to be converting into just dahlia beds, which I'm very excited about. So I am going to be purchasing some 2 by 8-inch wide pressure treated wood, and I'm gonna get either 10 to 12 feet. I gotta measure it out, and I'm hoping I can put at least 5 or 6 beds over here, giving at least 3 feet in between each bed, so that way we have room to walk the paths. But this right here, it gets all of the sun, like throughout the whole entire morning sun rays until late in the evening around 5 or 6, compared to where I had them previously, where it would only get the afternoon sun around maybe noon. It was not getting the full like 6 to 8 hours that I was hoping for, especially with all the new tree growth. We are going to be knocking down some of the smaller trees that we can just do ourselves instead of getting company out here. But I'm hoping by moving my dahlias over here, they will do a better job producing. And I had a lot of issues with them stretching towards the sun. So instead of them growing straight up, they grew at a very deep, hard angle just to reach for that sun. So it didn't make my stems nice and straight like I was hoping for, and they were kind of a little bit all over the place. So sometimes with making arrangements, that was just a little bit tricky. So hopefully my goal is, I should say, is to get the beds made before winter. So that way all I have to do in the spring is move the dirt in, and I want to get some cardboard down to try and kill some of this grass as well. So that is a project that I'm hoping to start maybe November or so, because we don't get snow by then. So let's go over to the flowers. All right, and here's my cut flower garden. We have my straw flower, which was a little oops-a-daisies, and then as you can see, my dahlias are still doing really good, except for one little spot where my seedlings were, they didn't make it. I actually have stalk over there that is starting to bud up, which is way later than I was expecting and hoping for. But we do have some buds on these, so I'm going to just add them in arrangements for myself. And as you can see, zinnias are toast. Those did not make it. So I'm going to be cutting those down. But these dahlias right here, these are the cafe au laits. They're doing great. As you can see, I still have a bloom that is going to hopefully be opening up soon, even though the leaves are just like a little bit damaged. But other than that, it's going well. I put frost cloth on this, and for whatever reason, I don't know if we took it off too early. This area, it didn't do too good, so that will be something I'm going to be working on. But as you can see, I already started taking my zinnias down, just cutting so I can pull them over the netting, and then I'll take the netting off, and then I will go ahead and lift them up, just because they did have powdery mildew. I don't want to be leaving them in the ground. So we have that over there. And this is what happens when it just was so windy. Everything was bending for the light over in this area because it was in the corner. More dead zinnia. Here is my straw flower, which is still kind of blooming. My celosia, which kind of made it, but as you can see, I have hacked away at it. This is a first year seedling right here, where I don't plan on keeping, I don't think any, but maybe 4 or 5 of the tubers from the plants. I just didn't really care for a lot of the single petals. Their vase life wasn't that great, and they kind of would shatter after picking them. So these I'm just leaving for now, and I'll dig those up later. I might just gift them actually at my flower stand, and just tell people that they're going to be good for like patio flowers. But right now, as you can see, the bees are still enjoying them. And then these dahlias right here, they're still doing pretty well. So I am leaving them for now. I'm in no rush. But I was able to make a few bouquets for a friend, and I do bag mine because we do have bugs, except as you can see, something has made it into the bag, unfortunately, which I will have to squish later. But yeah, we're still getting some blooms here in October 10th. So I'm very excited. Are my Costco ones, and I was actually very happy with them. But as you can see right here, they kind of been flopping all over the place because we've had such high winds, and I should have staked them a little bit better, but I just love these colors. So yeah, so right now, and then and over here I have coleus, which was such a great foliage for my flowers. And then I have some late blooming marigolds, which I was very happy about. But yeah, my basil is toast as well. So we're going to just be working this weekend, pulling all of the zinnias up. Anything that does not need to be saved will be getting pulled, just so we can get started with that process, since the dahlias will be taking up a lot of my time. So let's get to this. And I just wanted to stop and mention quickly before I cut them down that these are zinnias that I did in my winter sowing milk jugs. And they by far probably performed the best. I had lots of blooms on them, and I actually transplanted them over here. I did a little video how I planted these first out in my vegetable garden beds, and they were getting just too tall and they were competing with my peppers for the sun. So I actually dug them up and tested it out if I could go ahead and transplant them when they're actually fairly big, because as I read before, that zinnias don't like their roots disturbed, so I didn't know if it would work, but they did so well. I was able to cut so many flowers off of these. It was the, I think, early bird collection of seed mix I got from a big box store, and they did phenomenal. So they're a lot smaller, but I like those little cutesy smaller zinnias. They kind of fill in some of my gaps nicely. So definitely try zinnias with your winter sowing milk jugs. I do plan on doing that again and having a patch, because they bloomed so much faster compared to ones that I started indoors, and as well as ones that I started in my greenhouse. I did 3 successions of zinnias, the winter sowing starting inside, and then ones I did in my greenhouse, and they definitely had the most blooms again. So definitely going to count that as a win in my book and doing it more next year. So now I have everything cut down, and I was able to roll up this netting up until my little dahlia seedlings over here. And I am just going to pull up the roots of everything. That way I can start nice and fresh in the spring. And I do plan on trying to make some of these areas more for my cool hardy annuals, especially the back row where I had my dahlias and celosia, because that will get a lot of sun in the spring. But once the leaves start to fill up the trees, unfortunately, they didn't get as much sun as I was hoping for. So my thought process is, if I can plant my cool hardy annuals there before the leaves start to green up and start casting a shadow over that row, then I can use my vegetable garden bed and use it for more of my All right, and that's going to wrap it up for today. We have all of our zinnias cut and pulled. I'm going to be working on some other parts of the garden, and hopefully in the next few weeks I will show you how I save my seeds. I really like saving my seeds to do seed swapping online. All right, and that's going to wrap it up for today. Just taking you through what I have been up to lately. I am going to start taking down this garden over the next few weekends. We definitely need to dig up our dahlias and store them. I have a lot more seed saving to do, and I will take you along for that process as well. I love to save seeds, and I had so much fun seed swapping this winter. It's a lot of fun. Go ahead and check out my video on how I do seed swapping. I even include some of the Facebook groups that I like to take part in and do a lot of seed swapping there. It was so much fun getting them into the mail. All these envelopes filled with seeds, and you're able to get maybe some varieties that you don't need, you know, a whole entire seed packet of. You just want like 10 of them to start, and then you can save your own seeds from there on out. And this is actually how I got a lot of my seedlings for my dahlias, and I had some amazing results with those. Sometimes people will post where you can not only swap, but you can buy their seeds. So there's just lots of different things to do, and you can grow your collection that way. So I'll take you along. Hopefully in the next few weeks, I also want to share how I felt my first year having a flower stand worked out. and I will see you all next time. Happy gardening. Bye.